Hi, it's Wednesday, and that means it's time for another video edition of Widower Wednesday. I'm Abel Keogh, author of the book Dating a Widower, and today I'm going to discuss the top 3 mistakes widows and widowers make when blending families. The idea for this video comes from an email from a viewer, and I'm sharing this email with that person's permission, so thank you very much for letting me share it. And the email goes like this. It says, "Dear Abel, I was widowed 2 years ago, and I've been fortunate that I met the love of my life soon after, and will start my chapter 2 with her this coming September. I have 3 kids, ages 14, 10, and 8, and she has 2 kids, ages 10 and 7, from her previous relationship. We'd like to make blending families successful for our kids and for us. What, in your experience, are things that we should or shouldn't do in order to have the best chance of success?" And that is a great question. Again, I think the biggest issue I see when it comes to blending families, it comes around parenting issues and discipline issues. Those are the biggest issues. So here's what I've seen over the years, and here's the 3 things you should or shouldn't do, which will dramatically increase the success rate of blending your families and decrease the amount of friction and issues that you'll have once you do it. Won't be perfect. I'm not guaranteeing perfection, but I am guaranteeing fewer issues. How about that? So the first one, and this is the biggest issue I see, is when the widowed party is not a parent to their kids. And so what I mean by that is that the widowed person makes excuses for bad behavior for their child because they've lost their mom or their dad. And basically, what even though they've lost their parent, is you still need to expect the same behavior from them as you would before they lost the parent. The worst thing you can do is have no expectations of your child. It's like, oh, you've lost your mom, your dad, whatever, who cares if you do schoolwork, who cares if you do chores, who cares, whatever. You can fill in the blank here. It's having these no expectations and just kind of letting the kids just kind of run wild or kind of do their own thing. I have seen relationships end, relationships where everything else was perfect, but they've ended because the widowed parent just wouldn't enforce rules, wouldn't basically wouldn't be a parent to their kids, and it came down to, well, they've had it tough because they lost their their parents, so I don't feel like I can ask things of them. And I mean, again, I've seen that destroy relationships who were otherwise perfect. Everything else was great, but the person said, this is a deal breaker. I can't bring my kids into this, or I can't bring myself into a relationship where the other person's not going to parent. So be a parent to your kids, even though again, I understand losing a parent is tough, but especially minor children, they're pretty resilient, and they can and they'll fare well if you still have expectations of them. You still expect them to whatever, get good grades, do chores around the house, things like that. You just need to have that set of expectations for them. So be a parent to your kids. That's the first thing to do. The second issue I see is that when people get married and they blend families, that there's 2 sets of rules. There's a set of rules for the widowed parent's kids and the set of rules for the other parent's kids, and this goes over a variety of issues. It can be when it comes to curfews, homework, meals, chores, other expectations, things like that. And you need to again have a same standard set of rules no matter whose kid you are, or no matter what it is. Like if chores need to be done, everybody has a chore. Chores need to be done by a certain time. If you have homework, again, you can't go out and hang with your friends or do things unless your homework's done. And those rules have to be pretty uniform and standard across the kids. Kids can tell, when there's 2 sets of rules, and that just leads to problems such as, hey, well, why do I have to do this? So and so doesn't have to do this. They don't have to eat their vegetables before they can have dessert, or they don't have to get their homework done. And I understand that there's extenuating circumstances, but I'm just talking in general. You need to have the same set of rules, no matter whose kid it is. And he's like, here's the house rules, here's the expectations that come with living here, and those are kind of universal rules. And that kind of ties into the third point, is the other mistake I see is when again, widows and widowers, they get remarried and they're not united with their spouse on, again, house rules, family issues, things like that. Kids can sense when when a couple isn't fully united, when there's tension in the house, and they will totally take advantage of it. So the best way to do this is to have a discussion before you're married, not after you're married, not the day before the ceremony, but before you're married. Have open and honest discussions about what you do expect the house rules to be. What are the family issues that need to be addressed, and set up and kind of plan and set up as many rules as you can in advance. And please do this before you get married. And I think the other part of this is, assuming you're having these discussions before you get married, is you need to know what the deal breakers are. If there's a parenting issue that you strongly disagree with and you don't want your child in that environment, you need to be able to have the courage to walk away from the relationships if there are serious parental deal breakers. It's not like you have to be 100% agree on everything. There's probably room for compromises here and there, but it's great if you can, as you're blending these families, that you can sit down with the kids and say, look, this is a new household. We're looking forward to making, to having a family and making memories, and here's the rules. And so, be united on the big main things. And then understand that you're going to have a set of rules, and you're not going to think of everything before you get married. There's going to be things that come up after you're married, and being able to have that communication and having a plan in place that, hey, this came up. What do we do? Having a strategy or a plan in place where you can go out and discuss them and figure out, this is a situation we didn't think about. We need to create a set of rules for this. What are the rules? And then those rules get, that they get created. So it really comes down to communication. So again, the three mistakes I guess I see people make is not being a parent to their kids. That is, making excuses for bad behavior because they lost a mom or a dad. Having two sets of rules, blending families, then having two sets of rules, one set for his kids, one set for her kids, again, leads to increased friction and frustration. And then the third is parents not being united on the rules, a house rules, discipline, family issues, things like that. And again, that's a discussion you should have before you're married. If you've already tied the knot and you're having these issues, well, get on it and start planning it and figuring things out. I'm Abel Keogh, author of the book Dating a Widower. If you want to ever discuss this, you can always schedule a coaching session with me. Feel free to leave a comment below. Let me know how you've handled some of these issues. Subscribe, click the bell so you're notified once a new video comes up, and I will see you next Wednesday.